Good evening, friends. It's your favorite conventioner's favorite nerd, and today we're going to talk about the Botcon reveal. Before we get started, I should mention I was not there. I'm just talking about the reveals that were hitting the internet. I saw them the same time you did. I went to Botcon in '08 and I'll never return. I had a terrible experience. But let's get down to business. So let's start with the best thing that was there, in my opinion, from the Hasbro main line, which was Lynx. Problem is, it's just not good enough for my taste. I will more than likely be passing on that unit, and I'm going to tell you why. At first I saw it. Now, I'd already seen little teases of the Titan Wars, which is the thing that's coming next, and I was like, okay. Then I saw Lynx, and I was like, hot damn, they did it. Nope. Voyager. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, I probably do. It'll probably end up being Razor Claw, it'll probably end up being Hunger, and it'll probably end up making up the torso for Leo Kaiser, and maybe even Monstructor before it's all said and done. It depends on how successful this line is. And I'm not sure this line is going to be able to continue its success with the overwhelming amount of repaints that aren't generating a whole lot of interest. I talked to my good friend Robert. You know what he suggested? It was quite brilliant in order to fix the Skylink issues. 2 leader class figures that combined. You bought them separately, $100 purchase, a huge Lynx. That would have been nice. But nope, you get a $25 version that will work for maybe your Legends. You know, if you put it with your Legends class figures, that might work. It looks like an interesting sculpt. I wish it was 2 separate things. I wish it was Lynx, I guess. But let's continue. The other big reveal was Bruticus. We get some new molds there. Brawl looks kind of good in robot mode. Bruticus has the same sort of proportion issues, the same sort of hand-foot issues that has been plaguing this line from day one. It's going to continue. If this is the Bruticus that you want, I don't get you. If this is the Bruticus that you think you can afford, then I guess I get you. Maybe we'll get back to that in a bit. But the bots look okay. Swindle's head looks good. Brawl looks good except for the forearms. Vortex looks okay. My issue is Onslaught was an obvious pick from day one. My issue is Blastoff. I feel like they should have gone with another Alpha Bravo mold and retooled it a bit, and you could have got the space shuttle. But if they weren't going to go that route, I still wish they would have done a little bit of retooling on that jet plane to make it a little bit more World War II nostalgic. And then, let's leave all that out of it. A lot of these repaints have been getting new heads. Do you think Blastoff got a head that was appropriate for him? Negative. At least not so far. No faceplate. And for me, that's just not Blastoff. You gotta have a faceplate. But whatever. You get a repaint out of most of them, right? Onslaught's a repaint. Vortex is a repaint. Blastoff's a repaint. Brawl is new. And I don't remember if Swindle was either a remold of Rook or somebody else. I didn't look at it too long. I'm going to get them because I like the bots, and I'll have the bots together, and that'll be good to go. Let's start dropping down the pegs. So Lynx is going to form up with Hound and Wheeljack and Trailbreaker and Smokescreen in order to form this thing. And it's a slew of repaints, which is becoming a bit irritating. And now let me break something down for you, for those that aren't in the know. If this continues, the Fembots might all be repaints, the Optimus Prime Combiner is all repaints, and then this thing will be mostly repaints, with the exception of Lynx. And then most of Onslaught's crew is repaints as well, so you're looking at 3 or 4 waves of repaints, with a new figure here and there. That's going to drive down the interest in this line. It's going to hurt the line. My concern is that I would imagine that they're going to use some of these characters with new molds for future combiners that people actually give a shit about. And if that's the case, if this line dies off before we get to the characters that the people who like this stuff actually want, that's an absolute disgrace. This is the problem with it. Alpha Bravo is the perfect example. If they would have released Slingshot instead of Alpha Bravo, and then released Alpha Bravo as a secondary option for Silverbolt's crew. Nobody would have got them, and they knew that, but they wanted to capitalize on that repaint value, so they went ahead and did it. And if that sort of thing continues, people are going to get worn down, people are going to get worn out. I like that this Combiner Wars line is doing something for people. It's generating interest, but I am telling you, if it keeps on this level where they're making combiner teams that nobody cares about to get their money first, so that when they use the repaints of that mold for characters that people actually want, they're no longer interested. It's a smack in the face. It is a smack in the face to the collector. If you end up getting this Lynx monstrosity and you don't get a Computron, and you don't get a Predaking, and you don't get a Monstructor, and you don't get a Raiden, or a Leo Kaiser, or these sorts of characters, if you don't get that because they squandered their money, efforts, and resources on repaints and remolds of designs intended for one character that they're not going to release until they cash in their money for the second character, that's a problem. Think about it. Think about the consequences of those actions. Combiner Wars, I got news for you. It's already clogging my shelves in my local markets. And if the line stops selling, they will stop making them. So let's talk about our repaints. Let's get all of our cards on the table. Optimus Prime, Motormaster, Ultra Magnus, the white Optimus Prime. And we haven't seen a Nemesis Prime yet, but I would imagine it's coming sometime soon. Drag Strip, you get Mirage. Just one repaint. I'm okay with that. Dead End, Streetwise, Smokescreen, and Prow. Alpha Bravo, Vortex, Blades, Fireflight, Slingshot, Blast Off. Do you see what I'm saying? They are cashing in, and most of them share engineering. Most of them share parts. I don't mean molds, but I mean, you know, the shoulder hinges or the knee hinges or stuff like that. Most of them share a lot of parts. So let me tell you something. They are cashing in. And they're using cheaper materials. They're using sloppier products. They're using worse paint applications. They're using minimal paint applications. And they are making money hand over fist. And I am even okay with that, as long as they are giving the people the characters that they want. People want a Lynx, but they don't want that one. They'll take that one. They'll get excited about that one. But that's not the one they want. Even those people out there that are super excited about Lynx, you know in your heart of hearts, had that been a Titan Lynx and the scale would have been proper, it would have tickled your fancy. You can be honest here. This is a safe place. But it seems like they just want to put in minimal effort. It seems like they want to use as many different pieces and repaint it as many different times as they can. And I'm not the hater of repaints. I want to make this very clear. Repainting is something they've been doing from day one. They do it in Marvel Legends all the time. But it's not the repaints. It's the repaints of characters they know are not as sellable in this fashion compared to the characters they know people really truly do want to complete their combiner teams. The Chug collectors right now, they're finally getting their combiners. After years of thinking they would never get them, they're finally getting them. So why wouldn't Hasbro go and give them the product they want? And then try to cash in on those repaints. Hell, maybe then they would have had the momentum to continue the repaints with a smokescreen combiner or whatever this nonsense is. I really want you to contemplate that. Think about intention. Who's paying these people? Who's paying these people to come up with these combiners that mean nothing to anyone? Couldn't these resources be better used? You know what I'd rather use these resources toward? Let's gather up all those resources. Let's get a Computron. Let's get a Predaking. Let's build a Chick-fil-A closer to my house. I don't have to drive across town to get my kids a couple nuggets. Let's use all the money, pull it together, and we'll shut down every kiosk that sells jewelry in the middle of the mall. And I'll tell you what, while we're at it, why don't we just use that same money, and while we're working on the kiosks in the middle of the mall, we'll also shut down the folks that always want to clean my nails when I'm walking by, or fix my gutters. Shut up for a second and let me get past where I need to go to get to GameStop to make sure that Arkham Knight's going to be out on time. Why don't we use that money and get it together and make drive-thrus at Chipotle, something that would actually help the world. Speaking of food, maybe we could come up with some sort of temperature regulator so that the people at Starbucks don't burn every cup of coffee they want to give to you. Let's use it to just get rid of insects. Just all of them. Gnats, flies, the whole gambit. Enough already. Zipping around in my ear, in my nose. You kidding me? Enough. I don't care if they feed birds. Give rid of the birds too. Who needs them? I want to take the money and destroy every children's toy that makes monotonous sounds continuously over and over and over again till I want to kick it through the walls so it stops making that sound. Here's a novel idea. Let's take the money and get Denzel Washington some acting classes so that every movie he's in, he could actually do an accent that's specific to the general area in which his character is from. So that the character from New Orleans doesn't always sound like the guy from downtown Philly. Let's just dump the money into DC's cinematic universe and hope for the best. Or use it to buy Maynard some help at the wine factory so he can finally get together with the rest of the fellas and give us a new Tool album after like 20 years. Oh, we could use it and just put it towards future figures, and maybe one of them would have an ankle rocker on them. We could take those resources and apply them to people that want to make small talk with me at a bus stop about gas prices and the weather, local politics, or the novelty of the Wii console. Tell you what, how about this one? We'll take the money and we'll have something installed in all cars just for that individual that drives like 10 miles below the speed limit, up to 5 miles below the speed limit in the fast lane, but the moment that you want to get around him, he speeds up because he's got to be first in line. That guy. Let's get something that goes in his car where the moment it happens, it just shuts his car down. It just shuts it down. It's still safe for him. He's allowed to pull off the road, and he has to wait. He has to wait till every car goes past him before he can finally get back on the road. You're last now. Be first at being last. Enjoy that. But anyway, let me calm down. Look, here's the thing. I always try to end on a positive. I'll tell you what I think the positive was. I think that the exclusive offerings from the club are the best that we've seen in years. I love the G.I. Joe stuff, the Snake and the Cobra in the outfit, the Bat Troopers. I love the Ultra Magnus and RC, human figures. I love the approach that they took with a lot of these Combiner Wars for their repaints, even though it's more repaints, but I love their approach with doing, the Trigger Cons, doing toys and characters that aren't always going to get that love, aren't always going to get that nod. They're a little bit more obscure, but they're a little bit more true to the characters that these are trying to pay an homage to anyway. So it kind of falls into the same line. I think they did a nice job. It's not worth the money to me. I can barely justify the price, $15 for one of these things. You think I'm going to pay whatever it is to get into that? Negative. But anyway, that's enough. Use your money wisely, my friends. Spend your money wisely. I hate to tell you this. I gotta get in your face for a second. This is your Uncle Skullface talking to you. And your parents, your mom and dad, Hasbro and Takara, they have let you down. But I'm always gonna give it to you straight, kid. Because your parents, they wanna protect your feelings. And they wanna protect your heart. But I got news for you. Sometimes there's better options. Sometimes there's better things to do with your money. If you got $100 to get a Combiner Wars team, you got $100 to put something towards Make Toys. You got $100 to put something towards Warbitron. You got $100 to put something towards Fan Toys. You got $100 to put something towards a masterpiece that's coming out, a quality figure from a fair company. I love you, kid. Be good. Tell your mom and dad I said hello.